Okay, we are here with Phil Strawn of Modern Building Company and Taylor Bunch of True North Housing Alliance, and we're getting ready to open the Howard Slater Navigation Center, and we wanted to talk about that. We're very excited. So, Phil, I wanted to ask you what it's been like partnering with True North Housing Alliance for this project and in general, because we've worked on other projects together.
This project has been easygoing. The group here has been responsive, engaged. Just you can tell the excitement that they've got this thing coming online, and that they're looking at a new space with that gives them more abilities to do their business and serve their clients. And it's just been a feel good from day one.
That's so great. And Taylor, what would you want to add about our partnership? Talking here, this is Asia Bird. I'm our marketing and communications director. I work with True North. Can you tell me about what the partnership's been like with Modern Building Company from our end as True North?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, Phil, that it's been easy since day one. I'm a social worker by trade and training. Not construction is not in my purview or my background. And so we started planning this project actually way back in late 2021, right before I officially came on to the job. So it's been this wonderfully challenging, beautiful, stressful labor of love. And it's been so neat to work with Modern because it's, we had an idea about what we wanted conceptually and for programming. We wanted a space that was inviting in its design, welcoming for people, that accommodated our staff in a meaningful way, a functional way, and that created a truly one-stop shop facility so folks who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness could walk through the doors and do that. And it's one thing as a social worker to have that idea in your head. It's a whole nother thing to turn that into a reality in construction of an actual facility. So it's been so neat to work with Modern because I've come in with all of these crazy ideas, not knowing the language and going, here's what I want, here's what I'm envisioning. And then Modern sitting down and being really thoughtful about bringing that to life. And then learning to speak the two languages. Here's what I'm thinking programmatically and why. Okay, here's how we can do that. And here's the construction lingo around how we can make that functionally happen. And it's been incredibly fun. I think there's been a lot of, ease is the word you used, Phil. There's been a lot of playfulness throughout this, and despite the ups and downs and stressors and issues and trying to just get through all of this, from the grant funding to the donations to actually building, it could have been, I think, a much more challenging experience, but it's been really, really positive and, like I said, fun this whole time.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard from our team too. Every time I've come by to do like a tour, take people through, or see it myself, everybody's just had nothing but positive things to share about our partnership, and people have been excited. Like the crews that are here working have been excited, and our team has been excited. So that's been really cool to see. And I was wondering, maybe Phil, if you could talk a little bit about Modern and your history and the kinds of projects you've worked on. I know you mentioned that this isn't your first time working with a nonprofit or, philanthropic-based group. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, Modern's been in Chico for 80 years, locally owned and operated. We actively have sought out partners in the community that we can work with, from the Salvation Army. We've done a lot of work with them on their center over in Chapmantown that we just finished a couple of years ago. To Enlo and the Enlo Foundation and the charities that they have that run through Enlo, through the battered women's shelter. We volunteered to cruise and labor for that. We're always looking to try and work with the Butte Animal.
The shelter?
The shelter.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those that we look for those feel goods. We are the people who work for us. We're in the community. We live here. Our kids go to school here. So when we see opportunities that we can better serve the community, we jump in. We love it.
Yeah, that's so great. And I wanted to hear too, speaking from the same perspective as Taylor, is like, I don't have any sort of like knowledge of construction and things like that. What is it like, working on a project like a navigation center? How is that different from other projects?
This job in particular had a couple of kind of key things that made challenges, I'm going to say. One, it's a very tight site. There's not a lot of space. So the Navigation Center, or I should say the Torres shelter over the years, you can tell when you look at the makeup of the building, as funds have become available, they've kind of expanded in different areas.
Yeah.
And the site is filled in completely. And with this project, we were tasked with, and RGA, the architect, did a good job of how do we cram as much more building on the property as we can. So
Maximize the space.
kudos to them. So we had to work within a very tight site. So we worked with the city of Chico on being able to grant us a section of roadway out front so that we could kind of grow an area to stage and prep for building construction. A big part of this is also just occupant safety. There's a lot of folks that are visitors here, and I'm going to call them guests of the facility that are at risk, and whether their mental faculties aren't here or they're in a traumatic moment, they're wandering about, and it's just a general nature of a shelter. They're here to seek help and services, and you have to watch out for them, whether it's equipment running or people coming through with deliveries or them coming into the site kind of lost and not knowing what's going on. So that has been a stressor for the job that we've as a team continue to reiterate of just, awareness, make sure that the people that are here belong, make sure that that we have ourselves secure, safe. Another thing, just because we've expanded on the roadway, this is the main thoroughfare for deliveries out front for Costco and Sierra Nevada. So we've had an extensive amount of traffic control that we've had to really maintain to make sure that their vehicles are able to get in and out safely. Those are probably the biggest challenges for the site. I would think that there's also been a consciousness of that we're aware that this is a nonprofit, and I'm myself, my team, your construction manager, we all are aware that there is an endless pool of funding to build this facility. It has a set amount of money, and that there is no, we went over, so give us more money. It's not like that. It's okay. They have this much. What can we do to maximize their dollar, to maximize what we can give them? What can we do to make sure that we stay within the confines of reality for what you guys have? And
while
that's
still maintaining a very high quality of work that you guys have done. It's been amazing.
We're still making sure that we give you a functioning building that 5 years from now you're not going to look back and go, man, I really wish we had more money to do that because this doesn't work. So
Yeah, no, I loved hearing about that. And then, this is like kind of related, but like, are there any things in particular that you're really excited about? I mean, we're about to open, right? So just what are some of your thoughts about, wow, this project is like wrapping up. We're going to be opening and we're going to be having our teams. Our teams have started to move into their office spaces, which is where we're at right now. And folks are going to start coming in to seek services. So what are your thoughts on that? Maybe we'll start with Taylor and then Phil, if you want to add.
Yeah. Well, first things first, we are very excited because we will be sending invites out for our ribbon cutting ceremony, which will be the morning of October 30th. It's a Thursday. So that day, as soon as we cut that ribbon, it's official, it's done, we can celebrate. And then our team is already actively underway on developing the schedule for all of the area partners, what offices they're going to use, what services will be offered out of here. We're coming up with all of the programming and how it's going to flow, the integration with the Torres shelter, the services that are kept separate for the more precariously housed individuals. So all of that work is currently underway, and we'll be really launching that later this fall, early this winter. But couldn't be more excited. And then too, I just want to touch on a couple things that you said in your last comments, Phil. You talked about being in this community and of this community and wanting to invest in projects that invest back in this community. And when we talk about what's next, I can tell you that on the car ride over here today, Phil and I were already daydreaming about other future opportunities along the same vein that really help to empower those who are most at risk in our community. And there are endless opportunities there. And I think the way that you get there is with mutual enthusiasm. So that's been, I think, the my single greatest experience in working with you personally.
This facility is, I have to be honest, I did not know the concept of a navigation center. I didn't have that on my radar. And even when we got this project, we got invited to provide a bid for this project. I'm like, what is this? I don't get it. And then only after we got the job and I'm talking to Taylor about how it works, I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. We have folks that come in and there's not a single agency that is going to be a fix-all. I mean, whether it's they need medical attention, whether they need just sanitary attention, whether they need help with housing, help with food stamps, help with getting a stabilized job or helping finding a job, whether they need help getting off drug addiction. It's one of those things that it's like, wait, this is like you grab a ticket and you're going to go to window 1, 2, you don't need window 3, go to window 4. It is a services a la carte for whatever someone could need. And when you look around Chico, I know that homelessness has been a very divisive topic, and as to how we help and treat people. But when you look at like this center, I don't think anybody would argue that, okay, how do we get people off the streets and get them into a stabilized environment that's safe and allows them to progress into society as much as they're able to. This center is the one-stop shop. I see it as like the kind of gateway entry point to be able to take someone in and deliver them to the next step in their life that can help them out.
Yeah.
And overall help our community. It feels like California and even our little rural town of Chico that we drastically need this type of thing. And so as I started to learn about it, I'm like, man, all the different steps and the different processes and different programs that are available for folks, like, yes. And then to have it right here on site here, if someone's coming here because they have no other place to go, it's already like, okay, you are client number 1. Let's have you come through these doors.
Yep.
And it makes it to where they don't have to go back across town, or they don't have to get a ride to find the next stop. It's right here. If you made it here, we've got you. We'll take you from here.
Yeah, and I think what Taylor and I have talked a lot about too is, excuse me, we've talked a lot about the collaboration and partnership process, right? And so the fact that like this is that entry point, but it's not because we're here alone. It's because we're here in partnership with so many community partners, dozens of community partners, and notably, that's also how the building was built, right? Yeah. The partnership between Modern and True North, and all of the donors who've supported. And it's really wonderful to see that. That's something I've thought about is, wow, like this has really made me realize how many people are in our corner and wanting to see a project like this and believing in the mission and wanting to collaborate and find a solution like that.
Yeah, and I say partnerships too, that, I don't want to leave Brandon Slater and Slater Sun Constructions out of this because
of course
they were a huge step in getting this project through the pre-construction phase and launched. They made his family made a huge donation here.
Yes.
And this isn't the first time that we've actually worked together on a project. We've worked on the Catalyst Blitz build with Chico State together. We've worked on storage sheds for Concal post-fire together.
Wow.
Worked on a Salvation Army Blitz build together. So there's a I don't want to call it a competition, but it's more of a very healthy understanding that we're both members of this community. We both care, and both of our companies want to see this community succeed and advance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that too. I mean, it's whatever industry you're in, you could take the approach of us versus them, or you're my competition, or you're my competition and my partner. And we even see that in our field and in our industry, right? There's these narratives that we're all working in competition with each other without any collaboration. And I can tell you that is not true. Even without the Navigation Center, we have over 60 some odd partners.
Wow.
And now what we'll be able to do is just provide them with a space and then build upon those partnerships. None of this happens in a vacuum. And I think if I were to sum up this whole experience in one word, it would be just gratitude. 2 words: overwhelming gratitude. Going from a vision, like an idea, speaking to it, and then starting to write it on paper and looking at every single person and organization and industry that's had to come together to make this real. It's incredibly overwhelming. I mean, Asia, you brought up our donors. We have donors from pretty much every sector you can imagine, and
demographic.
Political ideology, demographic, you name it. And then your work with Slater on this project, and then our work with RGA, with our construction manager, like the list of collaborators on this goes on and on and on. And it would not have happened had we stuck our heads in the sand and maintained that more isolated approach. Yeah.
I don't think the general public doesn't realize that a construction project, this isn't the biggest of projects really, but I mean, it's of size that just the construction side of how many hands have to touch to get it to work, from designers to construction managers to the city of Chico and permitting, through the subcontractors that execute the work and all of their trades that work for them, to then a job like this, you get into donors and lenders, Tri-County's bank, you get into the underwriters, you get into, and then all of your different service providers who all came together to say, we're going to do this. How can we contribute? I mean, this thing has had thousands of people that can hang their hat that they had a part in making it happen, which is pretty cool.
And then you add the donors too, who they have also a part in making it happen, because without their support, we wouldn't be where we are. So it's so cool. I've been telling people that I'm really excited because I worked in journalism before I got this job here, and I covered homelessness, and it was, even after a while, it was really hard to feel hopeful about what we were going to do, because the problem has seemed so large. And of course it is still a large problem, and there are still going to be hard things that happen. Like, we know that the reality is our navigation center is just an important step, right? But I have personally never felt this hopeful about where we are as a city and a county, with everything that we're doing, with all of the partners, what True North is doing, what all the partners are doing in the community, and you know, the focus that we have on this, and it's so exciting. I'm really excited to see that as a community member and as somebody who's part of True North.
It's a really good point. I tell people all the time that this job is the coolest job I've ever had and the loneliest. Like, it's very, very challenging work, right? Like, to see, you know, we serve 175 people across our programs every night, and that's unhoused families with children. That's older adults who have lost everything. This can be brutal and very isolating work, and lonely is a feeling that you feel sometimes in it, and hopeless even. And projects like this, and what we're working on with the Navigation Center, and just what we're working on within our continuum of care, what all of our other partners are working on, that is what makes me feel hopeful and what keeps me going. And I can't tell you all of just this last week, all of the text messages with all of the different types of people, supporters, about this happening, and the excitement. That's a word I'm hearing a ton of from people. Hope, gratitude. That's what will sustain us in this work and help us get to a healthier community for all of us. And
it doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? We would talk a lot about how, like, our community is part of a larger statewide community, part of a larger, United States, part of the world, and there are issues. Like, homelessness is a huge issue. It's not just it's not just our county that's struggling with it. It's not just our city. And so recognizing that there are limitations, obviously, on what we can and can't do, but we're going to do our darndest to break down as many of those limitations and barriers as possible. And the way we do that is with good community partnerships and all being invested in this mission together.
And Butte County folk are scrappy.
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So this has been really wonderful. I wanted to ask if there's anything else that we didn't talk about today that we want to talk about our partnership, about the center, anything that either of you wants to share. I know we'll ask Phil first if there's anything you want to add.
I think it's just been a really good opportunity for us to provide something that we feel is a benefit to the community. Mm-hmm. We often build things that you're like, all right, cool, we built that large building there, but this one we're building, and I know without a doubt that this facility is going to better serve the community of Chico and Butte County, and that feels good. It feels really good, and it's one that, as a company, as an individual, we look at and we're proud we did that.
Yeah.
So it means a lot that we got the opportunity, and for us, it feels good, and we're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I would just say ditto. And we
I'm gonna put that in the next press release. Quote, ditto. Taylor Bunch.
I couldn't have said it better myself. No, I don't know if we mentioned this at the beginning, but this is not the first project we've worked on together. We did well over a year ago now, the men's shower remodel.
And actually, I worked out here in college with Nick.
Oh my gosh.
Grover Construction Management. We, one of our professors, David Shira, he worked to set up some remodels here. And
did you tell me this?
I don't know. This is like circa 2008 or 9.
Oh,
We built out at the time, I don't know if they're being still used the same. We built out the family dorms that are off the men's.
Okay. So we used to have families that stayed here at the shelter, but back in 2019 we moved families to a family home. But we did have a family dormitory.
Let's see here, Nick and I remember standing walls with Nick on there, the 2x6 walls, and so there's photos out there somewhere of us leaning on the back railing out there after we just finished framing that out, and so that was my first engagement here. And then honestly, over the years, I've had a friend, a good friend that I worked with at Chico State, who does a lot of the cooking for Thanksgiving. And she has asked over the years for me to bring in turkeys, and so that's one of those. It's like, that's easy. I don't even have to do anything. I just gotta go to Winco and buy just turkeys. That's the easiest shopping list. That's another one that's like, I feel good along with the restroom. Women's restroom. I'm sorry, men's restroom.
But our next project is the women's ADA shower. So and then we're daydreaming, like I said, about future projects too. So I think that's just one takeaway is it doesn't just start and end with the Navigation Center, and it's inspired a lot of continued hope about what else we can do across these sectors, because solving homelessness is not just a homeless services provider's problem. It's our business owners, it's our developers, it's our, it's so cross-sector. And so it's been really heartening to be able to kind of daydream with you about what we have done. We can many solutions to this issue, right? We can get really creative about how we solve this and how we fill those needs. And it's not just one size fits all. So we need the daydreamers. To be able to get there.
It's the most fun part.
It is. It's my favorite part. It's the part I'm best at.
I mean, that's how this whole center started, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's vision.
Yeah. So I can't wait for us to get to show people it and have our ribbon cutting. It's going to be very exciting.
Yep. Oh, and we did forget to say that at the ribbon cutting, we will be doing tours for a couple hours that day too. So if folks want to come out and see what it's all about.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for being here. Phil Strawn with Modern Building Company and Taylor Bunch with True North Housing Alliance, and me, the disembodied voice, Asia Bird, the Marketing Communications Director for True North. Thank you both for doing this and taking time out of your busy schedules. Can't wait for opening. Yay!
Here we go. Thanks, Asia.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.